Russian police authorities have nothing better to do than this.
Honor
Hello.
the memory of whom? Wait, I need to go.
Why do you
Honor the
need my
memory of
documents?
whom are you remembering today?
Why do you care?
Central District Police. Hello. Hello. What is your purpose for laying
Lay
today?
flowers in
For
memory?
what purpose? Is it in honor of a particular day or just
You
because?
don't mind for now?
Well, kind of.
Valerie Nikolai.
Central District for now.
Are you eating?
Central District, our
Yes.
territory.
Excellent.
Today is Navalny's Memorial Day. I'm asking you, what is the purpose of laying flowers today?
Why do you care? I laid flowers at
ahead.
the monument.
I asked
So
the
what?
purpose.
To lay flowers at the monument.
Amor.
What difference does it make to you?
To be continued.
It says so about the political repressions.
Just look at what an interesting job the police of the Central District of St. Petersburg had yesterday. They were counting how many people were there, what were they wearing, at what time, and most importantly, for what purpose they came to lay flowers at the monument of the victims of political repression. They naturally think that they are superheroes who saved the country from the evil within. You know, I find this really interesting. I mean, just because it was a year of Navalny passing away, and a lot of people who liked the guy went to the political repression monuments and they laid flowers there for remembrance. And obviously, when they were doing that, there were police units all around monuments like that asking them, "What are you doing?" And not only asking, but also arresting, because it seems like laying flowers is illegal in Russia now. Also, the Russian Foreign Ministry stated that Europe is acting nervously and is pushing its participation in the negotiations on Ukraine. Let's check out what the Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson has said about the Russophobes and what the heck is actually going on. Let's check it out.
The very same West. How can this be? It turns out it can. Russian-American contacts at the highest and high levels are causing real hysteria among Euro-Atlantic Russophobes. We see some sort of probably unprecedented phenomenon in international relations, imposition. Their own participation in the negotiation process. You see, it's about certain British and EU friends of Zelensky's criminal regime who demonstrate an inability to move beyond their own primitive mindsets. Look, once again, the European Commissioner for Defense, Andrius Kubilusvatos, stop insisting, to quote him, that a just world is impossible without increasing Ukraine's power. Look at Ukraine. I'm addressing the Europeans now. What have you done with it? Look at the people, the citizens of that country. What kind of power do you want to increase? The head of EU diplomacy, Kallas, completely mired in Russophobic frenzy, went as far as you may have heard, defending the militants in the armed forces of Ukraine who...
Did she really say, just look at Ukraine, what you have done to it? And they're saying it to Europe? Look at the people, look at the citizens of the country. Is she out of her mind? I mean, it's not Europe that attacked Ukraine, it was Russia that attacked Ukraine. So what has Europe done? I'm not sure, but obviously whatever she's talking about is what the Russian government has done. Seeing people like her saying stuff just baffles me. The way they twist everything 180 degrees is unbelievable. And as we guys know, there were negotiations and talks between the foreign ministry of the United States and Russia in Riyadh today. And this is very interesting because a lot of people were thinking, what is going to happen? What are the updates and what are the news? That is why I'm here to tell you all the updates, the Russian guy, all right? Bringing out the most honest and truthful updates from Russia. And by the way, before we get into it, make sure to check out my second channel called Sanctioned Drive if you enjoy watching videos about lifestyle and cars. The links are going to be in the description. Sanctioned Drive. Russian media have published a proposed draft agreement between the US and Russia that could determine the future of Ukraine and its neutral status. The key points were: Ukraine enshrines its neutral status in the constitution, and in return, Russia guarantees a renunciation of offensive actions. Ukraine will automatically join NATO if Russia violates the ceasefire. If NATO resumes the process of accepting Ukraine, Russia gains the right to a military offensive. In Russia's attempt to advance beyond the establishment borders, the United States and its allies may strike Russian troops. Russia is withdrawing its troops from Belarus, and the country itself is no longer considered a springboard for attack. The United States is reducing its military presence in Poland and NATO countries. Gradual lifting of some sanctions against Russian banks and energy companies. The West does not de jure recognize the annexation of Crimea, but de facto agrees not to raise this issue until the end of Trump's term. This is what was talked about during the negotiations, and it seems like Putin is really trying to push his ways. He wants to show the world that he is in the win for this. He wants to show the Russian population that Russia has won the war against not Ukraine, but against NATO and the United States of America, and that NATO and the US came on their knees to beg Putin for forgiveness and to stop this war. Also, what is interesting is that a source close to Russian diplomats named the lifting of sanctions as one of the subjects of peace talks with Ukraine. I wonder, why would you lift off sanctions if you were saying that when the sanctions were fitted, the Russian economy started booming? Why would you lift off the sanctions? Anyways, let's read more into this. Moscow's priorities in talks with Washington to end the war in Ukraine will likely include lifting some sanctions, including those against senior officials, some big businessmen, and energy restrictions. An unnamed Russian academic close to senior Russian diplomats told the Washington Post. Details: Vladimir Putin will consider this part of a compromise to demonstrate his readiness not to go further and not to seize more Ukrainian territory. Because the initiative is now on Russia's side, and because there are people in the Russian leadership who believe that we should not stop at these four regions, Donetsk, Lugansk, Kherson, and Zaporozhye regions, so they don't want to stop at those regions. But if there's a ceasefire, I'm guessing that Putin will like to have Donetsk, Lugansk, Kherson, and Zaporozhye to be his, to be Russian. Unbelievable, but it seems like that is the way it's going to happen if the peace talks begin. But as we know, Zelensky said that he is fine if Russia reverts back to the 24th of February 2022 borders, which means that Crimea is a part of Russia, and all of the captured land that Russia captured from on then, they give back. But I don't think it's really going to be happening. And on the other news, we could see that the negotiations went well for Russia and the United States. According to my sources, the meeting between the presidents of the Russian Federation and the United States is unlikely to take place next week. Today's negotiations lasted 4.5 hours, and after those negotiations, we got Lavrov himself talking about the fact that Russia is rejecting U.S. offer to stop strikes on Ukrainian power grid.
By the way, today our American colleagues suggested possibly introducing some sort of moratorium on attacking energy facilities. We explained that we have never endangered the energy supply systems for the population, and our targets were only those objects that directly serve the armed forces of Ukraine.
This was Lavrov's reply to the members of the American delegation that proposed to Russia to introduce a moratorium on strikes on energy facilities during a meeting in Riyadh. And obviously, Russia has responded with a refusal because anything that Russia attacks or bombs is supposedly maintained by the Ukrainian military. But I mean, Obviously, you're going to be guarding the infrastructure, the civilian infrastructure by military during war times. And basically, that means that Russia could be bombing anything. And if they bomb anything, I mean, it was guarded by the army. And they could say, you know what? We saw a bunch of soldiers there. That means they're servicing this plant over here. That is the reason why we have bombed this. And on the other news, not from Russia today, which I found a miracle. It was an absolute miracle when a passenger plane crashed while landing at a Canadian airport. Unbelievable. It flipped while it was trying to land, went on fire.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, no, 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 no.
Really scary, but I'm glad that everybody is safe. The Delta Airlines Endeavour Air flight flew from Minneapolis to Toronto. During landing on the runway, the aircraft overturned for an unknown reason. There were more than 100 passengers on board. According to preliminary data, at least 8 people were injured. I'm guessing the people that got injured probably had something fall on them, or they took off their seat belts or something like this. But I found it a bit odd that the airplane started turning on while it was landing. But I'm just glad that everybody survived, and that is the most important thing. And you know what? I'm getting scared for the fact that so many airplanes are going down. It's unbelievable. Stay safe, everybody, please. Thank you very much for watching today's video. I hope you found it informative, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, because I read every single comment. See you guys in the next one.